Good evening. We're going to call this meeting of the Grand Ledge Board of Education to order, and if you would stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, thank you very much. We're going to start with roll call.
Mrs. Winstanley. Here. Mr. Boucher. Here. Mrs. Movena.
Here.
Mrs. Clark-Pearson.
Here.
Mr. Bennett.
Here.
Mr. Shiflett.
Here.
President Wasik.
Here. All right, if we could do the approval of the agenda items, if I could get a motion.
I move the Grand Ledge Public Schools Board of Education approve the May 23rd, 2016 agenda items as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in support, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say the same. All right. The next thing on our agenda is the approval of the consent agenda, and that includes meeting minutes from April 23 from our regular meeting and closed session, and an administrative hiring. So if I could get a motion.
I move the Grand Ledge Public Schools Board of Education approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Second.
All right, thank you. Do you have anything you want to say before we approve it, or should we go ahead and approve it and talk about the hiring? Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and we'll vote on it first, and then see if there's some background that we want to include on the administrative hiring. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Sutherland, I see you're in the audience. I don't know if you have anything to say, if you'd like to approach the podium, but Ms. Sutherland is going to be our new Executive Director for Special Education. We had, I wouldn't say a long process, but we certainly had quite a bit of interest in the position. We had several rounds of interviews, and Sarah rose to the top in each and every round, so very pleased with her interest and very excited to have her on board. So welcome.
Well, and this is the part of the agenda that is probably one of our favorite times of the year and one of our favorite agenda items in May for certain. And Sarah, if you would come and introduce our top 25 scholars.
Good evening. So first, thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity to move forward. But there's still work to be done at the high school. So tonight, I'm the high school principal, and I will be through the end of June. So I'm going to finish strong here, and I'll start the next job in July. So, all right. So tonight, we're going to honor our top 25 scholars for Grand Ledge High School. Scholars, as I call your names, I'd like you to come up. You're going to form a horseshoe in around the board tables facing the audience, and then at the end we're going to get a picture with all of you, so don't leave until we get your picture, and then you are excused for the evening. So our first participant tonight is David Allen. David, come on up. You stand right about here. David's parents are Peggy and Mark Allen. He is the valedictorian. He has participated in National Honor Society, National Merit Scholar. He's in band, pit, orchestra, Spartan Youth Wind Symphony, brass with class. His future plans are to attend University of Michigan, study material science and engineering. So congrats, David, number one. Hannah Cordes, come on up. Hannah's parents are Leanne and Michael Cordes. Hannah is our salutatorian. She is a member of National Honor Society, band and campus life, Relay for Life, and many mission trips. Hannah plans to attend Ohio Wesleyan University and study microbiology. Good job. Jack Shell. Jack? Jack not here tonight? Okay. Jack's not here. Jack is planning to attend Rhodes College and study neuroscience. Nice. Henry Hillscamp. Henry's parents are Laura and Luke Hillscamp. He is a member of the National Honor Society, an AP Scholar designation. He has been in band, drama, and swimming. He plans to attend University of Michigan and study chemical engineering. Mitchell Hoffman. Mitchell's parents are Lisa and David Huffman. He is a member of National Honor Society, Academic Excellence, all A's throughout high school, University of Michigan Professional Development Award. He's been on soccer and the Calculus Club, and he plans to attend University of Michigan and study College of Chemical Engineering. Nice job. Noah. Is Noah here tonight? Oh, sorry, right in front of me. Sorry. Noah Dudley from Lori Briggs Dudley and Bruce Dudley. He is a member of National Honor Society, Band, and Boy Scouts of America. He plans to attend Michigan State University and study mechanical engineering. Sophia Rourke. Sophia's parents are Ling Lu and Peter Rourke. She is a member of the National Honor Society, a Quest Scholar, a Quest Bridge Match. She has been in choir and debate. She plans to attend Northwestern University and study computer science. Cindy Boss. Cindy's parents are Amy and Paul Boz. Academic Achievement Honors are National Honor Society Treasurer. She has been in art, tutoring, and Girl Scouts. Cindy plans to attend Rensselaer Polytechnic University and study engineering. Landon Myers. Landon's parents are Jackie and Justin Kilgore and Jacob Cooper. Landon has been a National Honor Society president, the political club, and bowling. Landon plans to attend Monmouth University, and study political science. Connor Bennett. Connor Bennett's parents are Jill and Jim Gleason. He has been in Calculus Club, swimming, baseball, and water polo. He plans to attend the University of Michigan and study chemical engineering. Alex Baraboo. Alex's parents are Ellen Baraboo and the late Stephen Baraboo. He has been the top 10% of the National Essay Contest and JFK Profiles of Courage, the varsity tennis captain, the German club, chemistry club, and calculus club. Alex plans to attend Purdue University and study chemical engineering. Jeffrey Butkus. Jeffrey plans to attend Oakland University and study pre-medicine. Grace Johnson. Grace's parents are Jeff and Catherine Johnson. She's a CAAC Senior Scholar Athlete, competitive cheer, cross-country, academic all-state individual. She's participated in cross-country, track and field, National Honor Society, and French Club. Grace plans to study at Michigan State University in International Relations and Communications. Ronak Shivkumar. Ronak's parents are Ranghamani and Shivkumar. Ronak, sorry, switching my papers around. Top 25, 14th in his class, marching band, pit orchestra, National Honor Society, Celt Club, and brass with class. Plans to attend Michigan State University and study computer science. Emily Beller. Emily? Emily will be attending Grand Valley State University and is undecided at this point. Anthony Froman. Anthony's parents are Marty and Tom Froman, third chair trumpet in Grand Ledge Wind Symphony, Honor Roll, National Honor Society. He's a member of Celt Club, German Club, senior officer, marching band section leader, Relay for Life volunteer for 12 years, and Dale Carnegie Leadership Course graduate. Anthony plans to attend University of Michigan and study astrophysics. Veronica Mills. Veronica's parents are Anita and Charles Mills. All A honor roll, top 10 scholar athlete, academic all conference in varsity golf and varsity basketball, varsity golf, varsity basketball, National Honor Society PALS, and leadership development workshop. Veronica plans to attend Ferris State and study pharmacy. Athena Livingston. Athena's parents are Margarita and Willard. She is a member of National Honor Society. She participates in Celt Club, PALS, and Tech Club. She plans to attend the University of Michigan and study nursing. Dalton King. Dalton's parents are Lori and Jerry King. He is CAAC All-Academic for Track and Cross Country and National Honor Society, Cross Country, Track, and Celt Club. Dalton plans to attend Grand Valley State University and study biology. Michael Glasgow. Michael's parents are Michelle and Stephen Darling and Carrie and Don Glasgow. He's a 4.07 GPA, honor roll every reporting term, and National Honor Society. He is a member of the Key Club president and founder at Grand Ledge High School. He's a student leader for Campus Life, Track, Celt Club, and Longboarding Club treasurer. Michael plans to attend United States Air Force Academy and study astronautical engineering. Catherine Simon. Catherine's parents are Jody and Mike Simon. She has participated in National Honor Society. She's an AP scholar. She's been in basketball and volleyball. She plans to attend Michigan State University and study biomedical engineering. Jonathan Webster. Jonathan will be attending Kettering University and studying chemical engineering. Alexis Siebel. Alexis's parents are David and Amy. Her honors include National Honor Society, A Honor Roll, a B Honor Roll, recipient of the CAAC All Academic Award, competitive cheer academic all-state individual, recipient of the CAAC Senior Scholar Athlete Award, varsity sideline cheer, varsity competitive cheer, and calculus club. And she plans to attend Michigan State University and study environmental engineering and environmental sustainability. Maddie Evans. Maddie's parents are Curtis and Deanna Evans. Maddie has participated in National Honor Society and AP Scholar, Leadership, Spanish Club, Calc Club, Links, and a youth group member. She plans to attend University of Michigan and at this time is undecided about her course of study. And Jillian Brown. Jillian's parents are Mark and Sherry Brown. Her academic achievements are National Honor Society, Honor Roll, and Top 25 Scholar. She's been in Madrigals Musical, French Club, and Calc Club. And her future plans are to attend La Jolla University in Chicago and study English and chemistry. So we're going to get a picture with y'all. Thank you. We'll take a minute. Come on up, parents. Oh, I'm off.
Well, you all, of course, are welcome to stay for the remainder of our meeting, but if you'd like to take this opportunity to slip out, we will take a 1-minute recess and let you do that.
Congratulations.
No, I can't get my, oh, well, that's true. Good. Oh my gosh, I can't get my screen to respond.
And they're giving degrees at the
It's getting old. All right. I think we can call this meeting back to order. Next on our agenda, we have some reports, and I'm really happy to welcome tonight Cindy Anderson, the superintendent of Eaton-Risa, who is going to be presenting the Eaton-Risa budget. Welcome to the district.
Thank you. That was a great celebration, by the way. Very impressive. Speaks highly to the district, all the staff, the parents, and the students' accomplishments. Tonight I've brought Janet Yakum, our Director of Business and Finance at Eaton-Risa. As the board is aware, annually by state statute, each local district that is served by Eaton Regional Education Service Agency is supposed to be reviewing our budgets for the proposed cycle for 16-17, in this case, for this year, and then passing resolutions either in support of or in disapproval of our Eaton-Risa budgets, in particularly for general ed and our career and technical education budget. Surprisingly, our special education fund, which is our largest, is not part of the state statute, but tonight we are bringing all three budgets forward for a summary and overview on behalf of the Grand Ledge Board. And I believe later this evening there may be a resolution taken up regarding some of the budget information you're hearing. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Janet, and she's going to provide you with a summary of our three key instructional budgets.
Thank you for having us here tonight. I want to concur with Cindy. That was a great bonus that we got to be here to see. And what a great science program you guys have going, because there was a lot of folks up there wanting to pursue that. Technical difficulties. We want to talk you through all three of our funds tonight in a whirlwind tour. But we'll start with our general education proposed budget. What you have tonight is a comparison, of course, to 15-16 and 16-17 proposed. But this fund is rather unique. This general fund at an ISD or at Eaton-Risa is not like what you would see when you adopt your general fund. Our general fund actually is comprised, about 1/2 of it is comprised of grant funding. So early childhood programs run through this, adult education, and our prevention services grants make up about half of this fund. And those programs serve not only Eaton County schools, but a tri-county collaboratives and cooperatives that we work with. And then also in this fund, all of our administrative costs run through this fund. And the special ed fund and the CTE fund pick up a share of those costs via a transfer in. So that's actually shown here as a revenue, as well as 100% of the cost of expenses are here. And then the remaining portion of this fund is for curriculum and other instructional services that the Eaton-Risa supports, and a lot of work that is done in those areas, like multi-tiered structure systems of supports, or MTSS. And what we're looking at here for next year is a slight reduction in our overall fund balance. And one of the big changes in this fund from one year to the next is that we had budgeted this year for a wide area network project that was one-time cost. So that's probably all I'm going to say about the general fund in summary, but we do have graphs here for you showing where our funds are coming from, as well where they're going to. We have a very small amount of property taxes that we do collect in this general fund, so there is a countywide millage, but the majority of the funding here is from the state. And there's also those grants I mentioned are woven right through all of the different funding sources that we have. So, and then we have this oddity of the incoming transfers from the special ed and the CTE fund, as well as we do substitute bill backs to the local districts. So the RISA holds the contract with the contractor EduStaff to provide substitute services. So when the teachers in your district call in for a sub, those costs are actually paid for by the RISA, and then we bill back districts for those services. So we can move on to the expenditure side of that. We have, again, another graph showing you now in the general fund, where does the money go? And so we've got the administrative costs going through this fund, as well as those instructional cost way down in the bottom. You'll see $2.5 million instructional staff support, and then $2.3 million for instruction. That's primarily those instructional costs related to early childhood programming. And then again, woven throughout here are those grants, those many, many other grants for prevention services, as well as the, most of the other grants are in the instructional and support area for adult education. We want to move to the special education fund. This is really, as Cindy said, you don't adopt this fund or disapprove or approve this fund, but it is the largest of the 3 RESA funds. And we're excited that we're going to be employing a new special ed funding plan system next year. And so it changes a little bit of the accounting that goes into this fund. And so you can see some huge variances in the revenue and expenditure areas. And it's really related to how we will do the accounting for the allocations that we will make to each district, and then the bill backs that we will do to the districts for either programs that we're operating, center-based programming, there will be a tuition bill back, or services for speech pathologists, social workers, psychologists that are serving your district. So we do have a property tax millage for this support of this fund, and it generates about $7.4 million. So that's primarily where, if you flip to the next screen for me, please, primarily where the revenues are coming from. And then we do have money from the state. We do receive 28 cents on the dollar for every dollar we spend in services for special education. We get 28 cents back. We have about $3 million in federal funds from the Individuals with Disability Education Act. And then there's a lot of reimbursements and other that you see here going on. This is where we're doing the accounting for this new special education funding system. So we have, a lot of money that will be billed back for related services staff, and a lot of money that would be billed back for tuition or center-based program services. Could you back up just one? There we go. So on the I'm sorry, you're on expenses. Back up to revenues for me. Back. You're going forward. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, on the revenue side, what I wanted to make mention of there on the special ed fund was that we're allocating funds out to the district. So those are on the expenditure side. There's a large amount of money that's being allocated to the districts, and then the revenue coming back in is considered revenue to the RESA. So that's why this accounting is a little bit inflated. You can see, though, that at the end of next year, we're projecting only a 3% fund balance, and that was part of the commitment that we went into with the special ed funding plan, is we're going to implement some new programs next year, some new classrooms, severe emotionally impaired classrooms going into play, and a program for autism and early childhood. So we're going to be spending some of those funds to implement those programs, and then we will be maintaining a small fund balance going forward for special education. But as you can see, those dollars have been accounted for, and it's changing up the mix here. We could move to the CTE fund. So in the career technical education side, we also again have a millage for that. It generates about $2.5 million. And the big changes for us in the CTE area next year are related to a number of grant programs that we were operating on behalf of the Capital Area Michigan Works, or CAMWA. And we will not be operating those programs anymore. So it was a deliberate choice by the RESA, and the proposals were up for bid again. We chose not to bid. And so there's about $1 million worth of change in this fund that I want to point out to you. But we're going to be enrolling about 750 kids next year. That's an increase. And that's a great benefit to all of our local districts financially, because you receive a full foundation allowance for those students, even though they may only be here half a day. So we've got, again, the pie charts for you to take a look at with regard to career technical ed. Again, showing most of our money coming in from property taxes, some state money, and then a little bit of reimbursements. We have a tuition bill back for out-of-county placements, so that's what that is referring to in the lower right-hand corner. On the expenditure side, this is where the money goes, providing instructional programs, $2.8 million. Those programs are generally provided by Lansing Community College. We also have partnerships with Davenport University, Potter Park Zoo, AIS Construction, and just a lot of different venues to provide these different programs for students. So we provide a little bit of transportation money to each one of the districts. You'll see in the bottom right corner, about $190,000, and that's to help you get the students to the programs. It doesn't cover all your cost, but it is an effort to recognize you have that cost. So I'm going to turn it back over to Cindy to close this up for you.
We have been involved over the past year in a strategic planning process that's involved input from stakeholders across the Regional Education Service Agency, including board members, superintendents, central office administrators, building administrators, and instructional staff. As we've been working to really reinvent, reshape, and refocus the emphasis and efforts of the RESA in support of the needs of our constituent districts, based on that stakeholder feedback, we've come up with 3 consistent focus areas that are going to guide the work of the RESA over the next 3 to 5 years. One of those areas, as you can tell, is student achievement. Across general ed, special education, and career and technical education, we're really trying to leverage and maximize our resources to provide a shared instructional continuum that supports the needs of students in the Grand Ledge district as well as our 4 other constituent districts. And if you can picture it more as a gap-filling mechanism, that would be helpful, because oftentimes our resources are used to gap-fill needs for students in our local districts where it may not be cost-effective for local districts to operate some customized or high-intensity or high-cost programming on their own. The second goal area for us is going to be around communication and community engagement. As you're aware, there have been some challenges across the recent history with the RESA. We have worked overtime to really clean up a lot of our financial situations, our budgeting, our planning, and our programming and service delivery. We have a long way to go, but we're doing that in partnership with our constituent districts, and we're listening to needs of our constituent districts to build these budgets and support the work that needs to be done on behalf of your students. And then the third area is also to maximize resources through the exploration of shared services across local districts or between local districts and the RESA. We have a technology assessment project currently running where we're looking at across all 5 of our districts, what are the technology needs? Are there opportunities for us to maximize use of resources and minimize duplication of efforts and services? So we look to be doing more of this type of work as we move forward in the future. And we appreciate your time in looking at our budgets and hope that this information tonight has provided you with some additional resource material as you consider decisions about approving our budgets moving forward for 16-17. So, any questions?
No, that's the most thorough presentation I've had in many of a year from the Eaton Recess, so I really appreciate your coming and explaining it, because it is very complicated with the grants that are involved.
It's very different than
Yeah.
how a local district budget is structured, so when you look at those, we can't always commingle funding across the 3 funds by statute either, so there's a lot of different accounting practices that go on.
All right. Thank you so much, both of you.
I had a question. Ma'am, I don't want to put you on the spot, but in your
okay.
expense highlights for special ed, you talk about expanding programs for EI and autism spectrum disorders. Do you have any information you could provide us on that? That was a pretty significant concern of this board a couple years
Yes.
ago, and what you plan to do to expand that?
Yes, we actually I came on board December 1st. I think December 10th, we had our first special education funding committee meeting. We actually pulled an advisory group with a superintendent, some business officials, and special ed directors from across the county to really look at our funding system, set goals about trying to make it predictable, stable, and equitable. And along with that, we did an extensive review of special ed programming, needs, issues, and gaps that had been present for a number of years. As a result of the work of the funding committee, the special ed directors across the RESA did quite a bit of work in reviewing student needs, unmet needs, and then developing recommendations that came to our special ed funding committee for review and approval. So for next year, the RESA will actually be operating 2 new center-based emotionally impaired classroom programs for students that have not been successful in the programming and services available in the local district. So it would be for students with high intensity and severe needs. There'll be 1 classroom that will cover K-5, and in looking at the needs across the county, we'll have a secondary program that will address grades 6 through 10. As that need continues, there may be a need to add an additional classroom program to have an elementary, a middle, and a high school program in the continuum, but based on needs and student projected enrollments for next year, we're starting with 2. And then also, we had some significant needs at the preschool and elementary level for students on the autism spectrum disorder. Kids that, again, may not be successfully supported and programmed for within your local district. Because we always want kids to be in the least restrictive environment options first, and then move to more intensive programming as the student needs dictate from that. So what we're doing is opening a new early childhood special ed program for next year that will be center-based and operated by the RESA. We believe it's going to be housed in Charlotte at the Galewood School facility, which already has a large complement of preschool and early childhood programming to afford kids integrated learning opportunities. But it will serve kids with moderate to severe cognitive impairments, multiple impairments, as well as autism spectrum disorder students. And then we're kind of revamping our elementary moderate cognitively impaired classroom program that's currently housed at Potterville to address the needs of a few more elementary aged students on the autism spectrum. So we're going to be kind of adapting a current classroom to better meet those needs, as well as add an additional pre-K classroom.
I guess I'd like to make a comment that I'm on the Eaton RESA board, and Superintendent Cindy Anderson has a very quiet demeanor, but she's a real reliable, solid, and forward-thinking person who has taken on Eaton RESA, which was at, I think, about the lowest point that it has been in its history, and is working at an incredible pace to what she just described are programs that are the result of listening to what Grand Ledge and other schools have said they've needed. We haven't had anyone listen to us in quite a long time on that. These are, and Cindy comes with a substantial special ed background, but is doing a wonderful job for us, as is Janet Yakum, who was one of the first people to show up at Eaton RESA and make me feel that maybe we would finally have some reliable financial statements. Financial statements aren't just numbers on a page. They represent an allocation of resources. And when you think you have a fund balance that's 2 or 3% and it's really 28%, that's as bad as having a deficit, because that means you didn't serve that 6-year-old and his family that are suffering and need some services. So this is a way to optimize the revenue that they get and the services that they provide with that. Things are accountable and traceable, at least in the financial world. I think Grand Ledge owes a real debt to them for the service they've done, and I'm really looking forward to, over the next year or two, that not just accountability in the financial area, but accountability in the delivery of these programs will be something that will begin to improve. Grand Ledge just showed off 25 of its graduates. We have many fine graduates, but 25 of them, many of them in the technical and science fields. But the truth is, Grand Ledge needs a lot of work on math. They need a lot of, our math scores are not where I would like them to be, and we need help there. Not just our kids in the special ed area, but lots of our kids need shoring up. Math scores are not improving at the rate that they should. So I'm really looking forward to Eaton-Risa being a partner with us in the next couple of years. And this presentation is the first of its kind that I've seen in the 12, 14 years I've been on this board. And it's a big deal to see this, and I want to thank you for it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Cindy.
We have 4 items in the President's report tonight, and the first is Capital Connections, where we talk about the legislative initiatives that are likely to affect schools. So Jay, what have you got?
So probably the most significant thing coming out of the Capital Connections report tonight would be the Consensus Revenue Estimation Conference was held not too long ago, and revenue estimates came in below projections. So what that means for the budget process is anybody's guess, but seeing that they're still in the middle of the budget process and they now have lower revenue estimates than they thought, I can only imagine that the projected increases that we were seeing may not come to fruition. So that is worth watching. Other than that, there's been some talk of modifying Michigan Merit Curriculum requirements as it relates to visual performing arts and applied arts and foreign languages, basically offering some additional opportunities. So as it stands right now, graduates need 1 year of visual arts or 1 credit of visual arts and 2 credits of foreign language. Legislation coming out of the House, out of a committee out of the House, would say that a total of 3 credits in any of the following: a language other than English, visual performing or applied arts, computer science, coding, or a combination of the 2, or Michigan Department of Education approved formal career and technical education program. So if they put together 3 credits from that selection of opportunities, that would fulfill that requirement. Michigan Association of School Boards and Michigan Association of Superintendents are having a legislative conference coming up on the 31st of May. I will be in attendance. And that's all I have for Capital Connections report.
Thank you. Sarah, did you have anything else to report on?
No, I
Eaton-Risa?
think that was all we need tonight.
All right. And then,
Thank God, huh?
the Grand Ledge Education Foundation.
Grand Ledge Education Foundation. We have the 5K coming up on June 18th. And we also had a presentation at our last meeting from a member from the Mason Education Foundation, and that was going over a fundraising opportunity that they just engaged in that we're looking at. I don't want to spoil any of the details, but we have some exciting new things coming on the fundraising and endowment front from the Grand Ledge Foundation Education. Details to come.
All right. Thank you. And the Grand Ledge Parks and Rec.
Well, I can admit when I made a mistake. At the last Parks and Rec meeting, I realized there was a Parks and Rec meeting in the intermission between my son's hockey game on the other side of the state. So I have been briefed on what went on there, and they are still moving forward on the Riverfront project, and there will be some discussion on that this Thursday, so I'll have a more complete report next time.
Okey-doke.
Thank you.
All right. And the superintendent's report.
Thank you. A couple of items. First of all, congratulations to the top 25 scholars and their parents. Also, congratulations to the high school staff, administration, and all teachers across the district for preparing them so wonderfully. Their accomplishments are absolutely incredible, and what they're going to accomplish at the next stage is also really an attribute to the foundation that they received in Grand Ledge. Some of the upcoming events, May 25th, this Wednesday, Cruise In for Kids car show will be at Neff from 5:30 to 8 o'clock. I'm sorry, 5:30 to 8:30. And the proceeds support Blessings in a Backpack for Grand Ledge. Also supporting Blessings in a Backpack, the Caring Neighbors Golf Scramble at Centennial Acres is on June 4th, and that's got a 2:30 start time. As Jay mentioned, June 18th is the Josh Paulsbury 5K Chase. And finally, on Friday, June 3rd at 7 p.m., graduation will be at the Breslin as customary. That will be the conclusion of my report.
Thank you. And we've reached the part of the agenda where we invite the public to comment on non-agenda items. And if you would read our guidelines, Jay.
When addressing the board, please come to the podium, introduce yourself. You will be allowed up to 3 minutes. Out of respect for board members, students, and staff, you will be interrupted if you personally attack a board member or district employee on issues unrelated to their job performance, mention a student's name when discussing behavior or other incidents, engage in discussion with other members of the audience. I will remind you when you're approaching the 3-minute limit, the board will not respond to questions or comments during public comment. However, the superintendent will do his best to answer questions at the end of the meeting. If immediate answers are not available, arrangements will be made to provide you the information requested.
All right. John.
Hello, my name is John Mark Ellsworth. I live at 316 Harrison Street. I'm the crisis leader for Grand Ledge teachers. As you're probably aware, the tentative agreement was voted down by the Grand Ledge teachers. I just want to be clear that the ratification process, that vote is part of the process, and it is a critical part of the process. And I think if we look at it, I think there's lots of lessons that we can learn from it. And when I say we, I mean you, the school board, you, the administration, teachers, the community. There's a lot we can learn from it. One lesson, overwhelmingly, Grand Ledge teachers prioritize student learning conditions over what you all had said was a new pay scale that would be the highest in the region. I think that's one important lesson. Another lesson, it is overwhelmingly the goal of teachers to support learning conditions, that should be the focus. Not just a little bit, not just like it barely. Overwhelmingly, learning conditions was the focus. Planning time, teacher aides, class sizes. There was strong support for those issues. A third lesson, it's always a tough lesson, at least for me. You need to listen. You need to listen to the teachers. You need to listen to the community. Now, I understand there is another round of negotiations scheduled for June 2nd. I hope we can apply those lessons. I hope those lessons can be taken there. I hope at the door of that bargaining session that we check our egos. I hope that financial spin is not a part of those discussions. And I hope we can settle a reasonable contract, one we all can stand behind. Teachers, students, the community, you, one that we all can stand behind. I hope that's the first step in really starting to move together again. I still have great hopes for my community. I have great hopes for my school. I know we have a lot of work to do. But that has to start with a reasonable contract. And I think if we can listen to each other, listen to the teachers, and listen to the community, I think we know where to go. And I think we can do that with your efforts and your integrity there. So hopefully you can settle a contract. I hope you understand that that is important for us to move together. And that's what I earnestly hope. Thanks for your time.
Hello, thank you for your time tonight. My name is Mike Jusla. I'm a citizen. I've been living in Grand Ledge for 31 years. Live at 7121 East St. Joe in Grand Ledge. Great community, by the way. It's funny, I work with and assist RASDs throughout the state from the bridge all the way to the Ohio border. And I've been working with the IT department with responding to the RFP that was submitted some time back. I think it was in February 29th. Let me just read what I have, got to stay in my 3-minute time frame. Addressing your group as a concerned citizen, also as a Frontier account manager assigned to support Grand Ledge Public Schools. I work with Mark DeShane here, and we do any voice traffic associated with the school is utilized by Frontier. From the beginning, I've been instrumental in coordinating a response to an RFP that was released on February 29th by a communication by design located in the Grand Rapids area for 2 categories: structured cabling of 2 services equipment, structured cabling and wireless access points. Frontier successfully comply with all the requirements as stipulated in the RFP, and I attended the bid opening. Frontier came in 3rd out of 8 with our Ruckus wireless quote. Fine, we came in 3rd. Ruckus came in 1st out of 8 by $6,000 for our structural cabling. Completely separate entities. Several weeks ago, I was informed by Communication by Design that a provider from the Grand Rapids area was awarded both bids. As a concerned person, I was a little bit alarmed by that. I couldn't get any answers. But I do support a wide range of communities throughout the state, and for about 25 years, so this is a little strange. Number one decision-making criteria is and has always been to support the community and its tax base, its taxpayers, whenever and wherever possible. Number 2 and 3, our relationship, which we have a very good relationship with the schools, and cost, respectively. If I interpret this decision correctly, I don't think it's been made yet, but I think it's getting ready to be made. This criteria was followed since both Communication by Design and Moss Telecommunications reside in the same community and have a long-standing relationship. Their choice, however, is not the lowest cost provider for structured cabling. We have a great relationship with the community, and we are the lowest cost provider. That RFP, that part of it is $163,000. I'm addressing your group because you will be voting by awarding this contract today or soon. I talked to Mark about this. Before spending over $300,000 on equipment and services, did anyone have the opportunity to read the executive summary? You did. 30 seconds, I'm going to be there, that we submitted. We have 10. We actually have 10 employees in the city of Grand Ledge. We pay taxes in the city of Grand Ledge. You know the Frontier is a Fortune 500, 250 company, 100% based American workforce. Did you know besides paying property taxes, we write a check to the city of Grand Ledge every year just for pole placements of $21,000. Did you know some improvements occur in the city? We are asked to reduce or relocate telephone poles, cabling at no charge, and we do that. A vast majority of the RFPs released by the schools are free and cost nothing to administer. I will file a FOIA request. In conclusion, Grand Ledge is in a group of 23 targeted communities the Frontier is reviewing to receive network upgrades to video, much like UVerse with AT&T. Is extremely expensive investment. The bandwidth of our community will benefit the community workforce and, most importantly, the students. That investment, however, is discretionary. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Mike.
Hello, my name is Pat Gilbert. I live at 8021 West Eaton Highway in Grand Ledge. You've heard from longtime Grand Ledge school families, PTO leaders, business people, legislators, and school volunteers. Those at the podium are advocates for the students, and they understand that a school system is nothing without a good supported teaching staff. The people who are speaking out were those who voted yes on millages because they are committed to our students' success. These passionate school supporters, these individuals who could be the district's most powerful coalition for positive school change, are losing faith in its leadership. Many have come before you and shared the negative, sometimes tragic outcomes for students, teachers, families, and the community when a district can't resolve issues in a good and timely manner. The teachers' resounding no vote on the tentative agreement showed their strong, unselfish focus. They turned down a raise and stood up for our students. Thank you, teachers. When thinking about the school district's direction, butts in seats came to mind. That's a bit of a crude expression about ridership that surfaced when I worked in the public transportation field. Didn't like its dehumanizing tone then, and liked it even less when it came to mind about our schools and our precious children. But when this district's leadership focuses on its bottom line to the degree that their tunnel vision threatens the teaching excellence this district touts, then you have trouble. When you open wide your school of choice door to bring in more dollars and at the same time fail to support learning conditions critical for teaching excellence, that's when time and resources are stretched too far. And the school of choice door starts swinging out instead of in for students and teachers. Spend some time in a classroom and you'll see that lower student-teacher ratios, adequate planning time, and teacher aides for lower L change the bottom line of student achievement. Tap the dollars you have and give your most valuable asset, your teaching staff, fair compensation. Give step increases that also attract new teachers. These elements will help stop the exodus of some of our finest teachers and attract good new recruits in a challenging teacher recruitment environment. And while this isn't in any contract clause, this district appears to suffer a serious deficit in its culture of respect between administrators and its staff. Good administrator-staff relationships go far to bridge funding and other barriers. A fair contract resolution is only the first step towards healing those relationships. If teachers don't feel valued, if they feel more undermined than encouraged, you impact their energy, time, and enthusiasm for their challenging and important work with our young people. So please just cut that out. And for our students' sakes, do the right thing. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Scott Zaleski, 1706 Riley Ridge. I would like to sincerely thank the teachers of Grand Ledge for voting against the last proposed contract, in effect, turning down a raise. By doing that, you have said that my children and the children of Grand Ledge are your priority, and you will continue to advocate for them. There seems to be a disconnect. I see there are no limits on schools of choice students that you were willing to accept, yet the bond proposal said we needed more room, both of them, and they were turned down. This can lead to various serious problems in the future and negative effects on the children that live in the district. Students in smaller classes did better than those in larger classes throughout K through 3 grades from study after study, including Wisconsin's SAGE and Tennessee's Project STAR, and on and on. The board does not seem to be concerned about class size, but parents, teachers, and students are. There seems to be a disconnect. Again, there seems to be a disconnect about the importance of retaining and acquiring well-qualified teachers. You have to wonder what kind of atmosphere is being created. Teachers outside the district and also the public are reading about the negative issues in the paper about teachers working without a contract. This has far-reaching implications for years ahead. Parents appreciate our hardworking teachers and want them to continue to stay in the district, teaching our children at high levels. But again, there seems to be a disconnect. Also about the type of leadership that we expect. I'm a software designer and I work for a company that holds its associates in high regard. When the company took a dive during the last recession and lost a tremendous amount of money, our company's president and VPs all forwent their bonuses so that the rest of the employees would still be able to receive one. This showed its workers how much they valued and respected them, and in return, employees felt appreciated and extended themselves even more. Let's think about what was shown to the teachers of Grand Ledge when the superintendent was giving raise after raise while they had to work more hours and take half steps, being paid less than the originals. How is it that our superintendent is compensated more than Okemiss's? Again, there seems to be a disconnect. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Marcus Jackson. I am a student at Grand Ledge High School, and I live on 7762 John Scott Drive in Grand Ledge, Michigan. It seems to me that our school board does not have its priorities straight. Because to me, teachers are the most important part of any educational system. Extracurriculars are a necessity to many students. However, with the load of stress and work put on these teachers by taking away their planning time, they will become unable to provide this level of extracurricular support that makes Grand Ledge High School so amazing. For instance, I am happy to be a part of the wonderful theater program. We just put on Little Shop of Horrors, and it was awesome. I'm just saying. If we are unable to be blessed with the support of our 3 amazing music teachers that make our shows possible, we will not have these shows any longer. These teachers will become unable to provide this for us because of the stress that they are under, which is a direct repercussion of, again, not having a planning period. And I know what you're thinking. We'll just hire 3 new people that can direct these shows. Great idea, right? To that, I tell you, the students in these musicals do not participate just to be in a show. They participate in them because they love the teachers that provide these shows for them. They love the environment that these teachers provide. These teachers bring out the best in these musical students. This leads me to my next point and my main point. We are losing experienced teachers. And you can't blame them for leaving. What experienced teacher would stand for this treatment? This is where you reply, well, I'll just hire a rookie to teach AP Physics. To that I say, there is no way a first-year teacher can provide the same level of education that an experienced teacher can provide. In closing, every one of you has said to a young person in your life, respect your elders, they're wiser than you. This applies to our experienced teachers as well. I ask you to please treat our experienced teachers the same way. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Stephen Klingbeil. I live on 920 Woodbury Drive, Grand Ledge, Michigan. I'd like to start off this public comment with a bit of a positive note. I would like to announce that I will be attending the University of Michigan and study performance and technology with my best friend, Joe. So, yeah. That being said, we have a little bit of bragging rights. We were 2 out of the 20 students that got in to this program. But that being said, we would not be there without our fabulous faculty at Grand Ledge. The reason I say this is because it doesn't have to be a music teacher to inspire us. We hold these teachers in high esteem because they are leaders, and they do everything that is best in the student's interest, 100% of the time. And that being said, it's disheartening to see these teachers leave. And judging by the past, I mean, it's inevitable that more will. And it's not that they don't want to teach. I mean, they love to teach. They just want to teach well. And I don't think it's unreasonable for them to be respected. I don't think it's unreasonable for them to have their own classrooms. I don't think it's unreasonable to have a planning period, because it's not impossible. And it's not like they don't work. They do tons of work for us outside of school, whether it be extracurriculars like Mark pointed out, or just even grading our papers, because the school day does not end at the bell. And if teachers aren't respected, students aren't respected in return. Because, and this is where I get upset, because my education is lacking because we are not able to perform at our full potential because our teachers are able to perform to their full potential. And for the first time in my life, I have been ashamed to go to Grand Ledge Public Schools. Because last Saturday at work, I was talking with a customer about my future plans, and he wondered what high school I go to since I work in Holt. I said Grand Ledge, and verbatim, I'm sorry, I've really seen a decline in the school district. And that is a tough pill to swallow. After being able to go to a school for so many years that is regarded as, is just regarded so highly because of our teachers. And so it's really sad to say that I'm glad I'm leaving. I'm leaving at a good time, I think. And I'm sad for my fellow student body and teachers because everyone deserves to be respected. And without that, I don't think students will be as successful as Joe and I have been because they have not been provided the same opportunities. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jake Setnicki. I'm a junior at Grand Ledge. I live on 8523 Huckleberry Lane, Lansing, Michigan. I just want to say that I'm not an overachiever, and anyone in this room can vouch for that. I'm a person who I do what I'm responsible for, and I leave it at that, and I let other people to do what they're responsible for. So I just want you all to know that how far this community has been pushed to get someone like me to come up here and talk tonight. So I just want to say real quick that I always felt that my grade level, being a junior, was always kind of unlucky. You know, like first of all, when I was in 6th grade, or was transitioning into 6th grade, we got the news that I couldn't be a middle schooler yet, real bummed out, little 5th grader me, all plucky and ready to go. And then later I get the news that we're switching up the SAT after I've been prepped for the ACT my whole high school career. I was kind of bummed about that too. And then I hear when I want to start AP Chemistry that one of the best teachers at the school that I believe is leaving. So I was, again, really bummed. And I just want to say that this year I feel that I feel really lucky. I feel that my grade is one of the luckiest in the school district because I feel I'm getting one of the last lifeboats out on the sinking ship.
My name is Christy Marinac, and I live at 7606 Madrid Drive, Lansing, Michigan. I'm amazed at the 25 students that were recognized this evening, their accomplishments and their goals. But notice not one kid is going into teaching. Over half of these kids we just saw are going into engineering. What about retaining these teachers? That says amazing things about the science and math teachers. What about when they leave? What is our next year's class going to look like? On another note, the newest proposal allowed only for TAs if the fund balance was 9.5% or more. You've heard over and over again from parents and teachers about the importance of teacher assistants in the classroom, but you continue to dismiss our concerns, even seeming to hold this issue hostage as a way to keep high school teachers working on their planning hour. Our teacher assistants are an integral part of the classroom, and I want to read you some statements from some kindergartners on how important their teacher assistants are. We asked each kindergartner in my son's classroom some questions about their teacher and their teacher assistants. This one child said, "This year, my teacher assistant taught me math. This year, she taught me to care for others. I would like to tell my teacher assistant, thank you for teaching me. This year, my teacher assistant taught me to write words without stretching them out. This year, she taught me to organize. She taught me to read. I would like to tell my teacher assistant, thank you for helping me. Again, I'd like to tell my teacher assistant, thank you for helping me, for caring for me. What I will miss most about my teacher assistant is her teaching us. This year, my teacher taught me to stay calm because I'm usually crazy. This year, my teacher assistant taught me to write, and I want to tell her thank you for everything. I love my teacher assistant because she helps our class. I would like to tell her thank you for helping me all the time. I wish the board and the administration would see that our teacher assistants are not just there to help with bathroom breaks. They're not just there to help put boots on in the classroom. They are actually teaching and helping our kids. I really hope that the school board and the administration comes up with a solution for this problem.
I'm Landon Myers, and I live at 2539 East Mount Hope Highway, Grand Ledge. So I want to thank you for recognizing us tonight as the top of our class. And I also want to thank these three awesome people for staying behind and staying with me. I asked all of the top 25 students, but as we heard earlier, most of us are very busy people, have a lot to do. So unfortunately, not all of them were interested in staying behind because they had other things to attend, but they loved that we were doing this. And I still am, even though we have low numbers, because I think it's very important. So we've worked hard to get this far in our education careers, and we wouldn't be standing here without our teachers. It's as simple as that, our past and present teachers throughout all 13 years. Not all of our lives have been filled with rainbows and butterflies throughout the 13 years, throughout the whole time we've had our ups and downs. What hasn't changed, though, is the support, help, and encouragement from our teachers. Our teachers' knowledge and experience in the classroom has led us through our school career. Not only does their support cover matters related to school, but extends to the difficulties many of us have faced throughout the years. We now stand here to return that support to our teachers, so they can continue guiding the future leaders of our generation. They do not take the jobs lightly, nor would we want them to. They pour their souls into their jobs, making it one of their utmost responsibilities. They aren't in it for the money, but a passion to educate. We want to reinforce their passion by ensuring they have the resources and time to give the best education they can give. With this board meeting wrapping up the first day of our last week of students here at Grand Ledge High School, we want to say thank you to all the teachers who helped guide us through this essential time in our lives. Thank you, teachers.
Good evening. My name is Teresa Abbott. I live at 605 Schoolcraft in Grand Ledge. I've worked as a school social worker for over 30 years, and 17 of those in this wonderful school district of Grand Ledge. I also have 2 children who went through the Grand Ledge school system and are doing well in their careers, due in great part to the excellent teachers they have had. I was also your state representative from 2013 to 2014. I am here today to lend my voice to the countless others who have stood before you in support of our teachers. My evening work schedule has prevented me from attending the previous meetings, but after learning that the issues most important to our teachers and to the children of our district had not been resolved, I knew I had to be here. Teachers are the voices of the children. They know their needs, they know what will make a classroom run efficiently, and what is in the best interest of the children. One of the reasons I had decided to run for state rep was because I saw the impact of legislation being passed that was negatively impacting our schools. Bills were being passed without listening to those on the ground floor, those in the classrooms every day. Instead, teachers are being seen as the problem, and their voices left unheard, which sadly is what is happening now here in Grand Ledge. Teachers have been saying loud and clear that too many kids in a classroom, no TAs in the classroom, and no time to plan hinders our children from reaching their full potential. Please do not ignore the voices of the teachers and parents and attack the very people who work directly with the students. We need to be unified. We all see around us the public trust eroding nationally. We need to stop the erosion of trust in our local Board of Education. 3 years ago, teachers bargained in good faith and made sacrifices to help the district out, which they have done time and time again. But what appears to be happening in our district is that promises made are not always promises kept. I know personally how critical planning time is for teachers. I often went and met with them during their planning time as a social worker. The time is used to meet with a variety of specialists who are working with students, to provide students extra help, call parents, set up meetings, coordinate with other teachers, prepare materials for upcoming sessions, attend IEPs, 504s, and other assessment meetings. And this is only a partial list. You have a hard decision to make with dramatic cuts in funding. Our priorities must be reflected in our budget and policies, not just at the federal and state level, but here at the local level. We need an approach that gives our teachers the tools they need so they can meet the needs of every child, which includes planning time, lower class size, and teacher assistance. Working alongside teachers, I have witnessed their dedication, their passion for our kids, and their relentless determination to help children succeed. Teachers are the voice of the students' needs. I implore you to listen to the teachers who are in the classroom every day. Thank you.
Good evening. Teresa Marhofer. My address is 10324 Shaytown Road, Mulligan. It's a hard to follow these kids that came up here and talked, but I want to take a second to tell you a little story. A story about a 10-year-old boy who had been moved from home to home and school to school for at least 4 times by the time he was 10 years old. At the age of 11, he had moved to his final destination and had been adopted. He spent the next several years adjusting to his new home and new school, trying to fit in at school and the community. Throughout many ups and a lot of downs, and I do mean a lot of downs, this child survived with the support of the teachers and the staff from Grand Ledge. This boy started to flourish for the first time in his life. He had teachers that cared, teachers that went above and beyond their call of duty. Teachers that worked with his parents to help him complete his high school education from Grand Ledge High School, June 1st, 2012. I am fully aware of the challenges that face school districts, not only in Grand Ledge, but all over the state of Michigan. What you need to realize is that without the dedication of these great teachers to the students of Grand Ledge, some kids would slip through the cracks. I implore that you work together with the teachers so that we can continue the great work for our students. The teachers need and deserve respect from the students, the community, and includes the school board. We mustn't forget that without teachers, a lot of us wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have the doctors, we wouldn't have the lawyers, construction workers. Please do the right thing. And just so you know, that 10-year-old boy is my son who graduated from Grand Ledge, who now is a proud military man graduating from basic training. But without the support of the teachers here, this young man wouldn't be where he is today. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kate Kingsley. I live at 12177 Madonna Drive, Lansing. My question to you as a community member is, what can we do to help you help the teachers? How do we make this work? Do we need to vote bond proposals? You have a captive audience telling you to fix this. How do we fix it? How do we make it better? Tell us. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Susie Jackson. I live at 7762 John Scott Drive in Grand Ledge. That might ring a bell with you because my son is Mark, who just spoke. And I'd like to share a story with you about him. In second grade, he became so anxious and so distraught that he couldn't go to school. He suffered severe panic attacks, anxiety, and depression. And with the help of all the teachers that work with Mark from third grade on, he now stars in the plays. He's on the stage and obviously is not panic-stricken at all. Sometimes I think he should be. But what I do want to say is thank you to all the teachers who've made that possible, for my family to make it this far with my son Mark. I also have 3 other boys. 2 of them are at Kettering studying engineering because of the math and science department at Grand Ledge High School. And Mark is going to go where he's going to go, and I'm sure it's going to be Broadway or someplace like that. And then my freshman is now started at the high school. And I've seen the change over the last 12 years of Grand Ledge. We moved back to Michigan choosing Grand Ledge because of the school system. And we've had to make some tough decisions now in order to help our kids get the best that they deserve. I want you to know how important that we think it is for our teachers to be able to decompress, recompress, plan, and get ready for Mark in the classroom. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kelly Augie, and this is the first time I'm saying it. I live at 1600 Tallman Road. In fact, right now I'm living with my mom, but in about 6 months I will live there. We're breaking ground tomorrow. And we bought that property so my daughter could go to Waukusta because her older siblings, who there's quite an age gap, went to Waukusta, and I wanted them to have that commonality. So we bought land, we moved our house, we're building a house, and now I don't know if I want her to go to Grand Ledge. And that breaks my heart. Will be 3 in June, and it was actually my husband that said, why do we want her to go to Grand Ledge? And I thought, because you and I went to Grand Ledge, and our kids are going to Grand Ledge. But the other side of me wants the best for her, and I don't know if by the time she gets here, this will be it. And as a parent, I wanted to tell you that I know there's many other parents like me that are sitting out here going, what decision am I going to make? I've already started to look at tuition fees for St. Michael's and Our Savior Lutheran and other schools around this area. But in my heart, I want her here. But with the decline, I just don't know if I can make that choice for her. So I want you to have that in your mind as negotiations are continuing to go on, that there are many parents like me that might choose differently because of the choices that you are making. And I also want to thank Bev Winstanley. I do not know you, but I appreciated your comments at the end of the last meeting when a lot of us were here speaking. And I have not had time to email you, and I wanted you to know that I felt that you were very genuine in your comments, and I really appreciated it. Thank you.
All right. It looks like that's our last speaker for the public comment at this point, and so we will move on to old business. And the item of old business we have for tonight is approval of the Eaton-Risa 2016-17 proposed budget resolution.
I move the Grand Ledge Public Schools Board of Education approve the Eaton RESA 2016-17 proposed budget resolution as presented.
Second.
Thank you.
All right, and we've had quite an extensive presentation on that, so I'm assuming there are no more questions, but if there are, signal now. If not, all in favor?
Roll call vote.
We're gonna have a roll call vote.
Mr. Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
President Wasik?
Yes.
Mrs. Clark Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Shiplet?
Yes.
Mrs. Winstanley?
Yes.
Mrs. Movena?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Thank you. All right, we have a number of new business items.
By the way, could I just interject something there? Just someone in the crowd mentioned Okemos, so I pulled up the National Center for Education Statistics, and it was rather striking that even though Okemos has 25% fewer kids than Grand Ledge, well, even accounting for that is what I should say, Grand Ledge has 668 IEPs and Okemos had 389. I mean, Grand Ledge got a huge number of kids, and so this RESA budget and special ed are pretty important to us. And I don't know if how old that statistic is, but at least they were using the same comparable statistics. But this, I can't stress again how important this budget is and the change in the way we're going to help kids.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, then, first item on our new business is the approval of payment of sinking fund invoices, if I could get a motion.
I move the Grand Ledge Public Schools Board of Education approve the payment of sinking fund invoices in the amount of $7,973.38 as presented.
Second.
All right,
And I would like to just request permission to abstain because by state law, I can't vote on anything that involves a family member. And I have brothers who run Clark Construction, which has been in this community about 70 years now, but I can't vote on it.
all right, permission granted. And just for those in the audience, the Board Bond Committee did review these before the meeting as well. We have a motion. Okay. Okay. I'll say it louder into the microphone. The Board Bond Committee did review these expenses before the meeting. Just wanted to make that point. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. New item, new business item B is the approval of a resolution to set terms of office. And this is something we've discussed before as a board, so if I could entertain a motion.
I move the Grand Ledge Public Schools Board of Education approve the resolution setting board member terms of office as presented.
Second.
Okay. And this requires a roll call vote. Did we want to provide
Yep,
any
I can do
background
that.
at this point?
You might want to explain to the people in the audience and anyone viewing this what that resolution is, and those are 4- and 6-year terms. Those are 4- and 6-year terms that are required by statute, that we have to adopt that as a lawsuit.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you have anything additional you want to share? Okay. All right. This is a roll call vote.
Oh, can I actually mention one more thing on that? This is not, by this vote, we don't prolong our own terms in the office. It is merely that at the next election, it clarifies the length of the term. This is not something that a board action would extend the people sitting up here their own years. At least that's how I'm reading it.
That is correct.
That's correct. It's just terms moving forward. Right.
Ready?
Yes.
Mrs. Movena?
Yes.
Mr. Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
President Wasik?
Yes.
Mrs. Clark Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Shiplet?
Yes.
Mrs. Winstanley?
Yes.
All right. Motion passes. Our third item of new business is the approval of a curriculum purchase. If I could get a motion, please.
I'll move the Grand Ledge Public Schools Board of Education approve the curriculum purchase as presented.
Second.
Sorry.
We're going to discuss that here shortly. This is just a motion to put it on the table.
For discussion.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. All right. All right. Dr. Metcalf?
The curriculum purchase that we are referring to is for new materials for our world language department. We've taken part in a curriculum review for the past several months as a world language department, and just for a little back history here, we currently offer French, German, and Spanish in Grand Ledge Public Schools. Those courses begin in middle school, and they run right on up through Spanish 4, French 4, German 4. We currently have about 1,200 students in the district who take part in foreign language at any given time, in part because it is a MMC requirement. Students currently are required to take 2 years of foreign language during their high school career. It is also highly recommended prior to that as a 2-year requirement by most colleges. The materials that we currently have are quite old. Most of them were purchased or adopted back in the mid-90s to late 90s. As a result, a lot of the materials are outdated. We talk a lot about VCRs and floppy disks and cassette tapes, things that are dear to my heart, but our students don't always know about. So we are looking at upgrading those materials. The group, which included all of the foreign language, world language teachers within the district, looked at 3 different vendors. They proposed that we go with EMC. They felt that those were the materials that best fit our current needs, but also allowed us room for growth. Those materials would include hard copies as well as electronic copies of all teaching materials for the teachers who are involved. It would also include classroom sets of each one of the textbooks, and it also includes 6 years of licensing for students. One of the things that impressed us most about EMC when we looked at the other proposals as well was that EMC allowed, with their licensing, students could, they weren't limited to any one book. So for example, in the other vendors that we looked at, if a student was enrolled in Spanish 1, for example, they were limited to the Spanish 1 materials for use all year. EMC allows them to go back and forth, and we thought this was a great opportunity for us to differentiate materials. So students in Spanish 2 could go back to use Spanish 1 materials as an example, or students in Spanish 2 could go forward and use Spanish 3 and 4. So those were the big reasons behind the proposal.
Just to clarify then, the same textbook I had when Madame Sol taught me French could have been used this year?
We.
Good, it's about time.
May we.
Bought some new books.
Nicely played.
And these are not this purchase does not bring the books in this September. It's a year from now, right?
Actually, no, this would allow us to get the materials. One of the reasons for making the purchase now is we could get the materials in place for the start of the next school year, and also with that would be professional development that would going for the summer for the teachers.
Yeah, I saw 17, but they were talking about the 17 budget year. Okay.
Correct, yep.
Got it.
Any other questions before we vote?
You know, Jay, you mentioned something earlier about, I thought that was already legislation that, yes, the new Michigan curriculum, you have to have 2 years of foreign language. But I was also reading that what you just mentioned is pending legislation. I thought it had passed.
No, it's pending.
Okay, okay.
Pending to make the change. Currently, 2 years of a foreign language, 1 year of visual arts is required. Under the new legislation, if it gets to that point where it is proposed and passed, would allow them to continue with 2 years of a foreign language, or they could do 2 years of coding. They could do 2 years of
Career in tech stuff?
career in tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Kim, what you might be referring to, in the past, they've provided more flexibility with personal curriculum for some students who were not, so they did not have to complete the 2 years, but currently it is required for 2 years with rare exceptions.
All right.
And even if it's not something that the state has adopted, selective universities and even moderately selective universities require kids to take these requirements, and so.
Absolutely, and like I said, we anywhere from 1,200 to 1,300 kids currently are enrolled in foreign language beginning in 8th grade. So.
Wow. Great, if there are no more questions, we'll vote. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Our next new item of business is approval of a bus purchase. We'll need a motion and a second.
I move the Grand Ledge Public Schools Board of Education approve the bus purchase as presented.
Second.
Okay. Dr. Mike?
Andy.
Andy.
These are buses, 14-year-old buses, and to continue to repair them doesn't make any sense. As a matter of fact, the cost of repairs are nearly 2/3 of the cost of a bus. So we've been not purchasing buses in the last few years. It's been difficult with budgets, so that's the reason for this request.
And they currently get inspected every year by the state still, or did that?
No, yes, they have to be inspected by state police every year.
Okay.
That's correct, and if they don't pass, then it's red tagged and more short buses.
Right, and then they even look for rust though too, correct?
Oh, rust is the main, that's been a major problem for us, the rust on the frames.
Mm-hmm, okay.
I think it's worth mentioning to people that Grand Ledge has one of the largest geographic districts in the state. And in the way back when they were trying to get schools to districts to consolidate and have fewer one-room schoolhouses, in fact, Beagle is named after Kenneth Beagle, who was one of the people that did a lot of work to consolidate Grand Ledge into a very large geographic district. And the state, back, I think it was before Proposal 1, but for a long time, as a way to incentivize districts to combine like that, they used to give the district additional money to cover busing. And Grand Ledge was always a beneficiary of that. But the New World Order in the legislature stopped that years ago, and Grand Ledge now has to pay for its busing through just the regular student general fund money that we receive. And that is counted as non-classroom money. So Grand Ledge, who already, or as a district, already is one of the lowest in terms of administrative, percentage of costs that go to administrative issues. One of those administrative costs is its busing, which is substantial here. How many, we do like what, 7,000 to 8,000 miles a day of busing? We have, I think 35 buses. Anyway, we cover, more than 100 square miles of district, and that is all taken out of our general fund money. So a district like DeWitt that is 11 square miles can use more of its general fund money towards the classroom. A school like Okemos that isn't much bigger than DeWitt also gets the same advantage. They have far less busing costs. It is a mammoth cost for this district. And I have in prior years made motions to end busing and say we could just be a smaller district and serve the kids that can get here. Now that's not something that's very palatable. Even I didn't like my own motion, but I thought it was time to think about drastic measures because that's where we are. And Grand Ledge doesn't have Grand Ledge is a district that doesn't have the luxury of some of the benefits that schools like DeWitt and Okemos have. And so anyway, we're going to buy buses tonight because we have to get our kids to school. And that's going to be considered an administrative cost for this district. And the legislation should change. And if we have someone who's thinking of running for the legislature in this audience tonight, that should be considered, that it's an unfair thing to treat schools like us differently than schools like Okemos and DeWitt.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Any other questions? All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. The next item of new business is the approval of business office software purchase.
I move the Grand Ledge Public Schools Board of Education approve the business office software purchase as presented.
All right, Nancy?
The current general ledger software package that we are using here at the district is now 23 years old.
Ouch.
It has been around for a very long time, and it has served well. However, it is not keeping up with the requirements that are needed now in this electronic day and age. Requirements such as just the ability to access general ledger information easily, and it's not just by the business office, but by the buildings, the building principals and the building secretaries, anyone who needs access from the general ledger system. It doesn't allow us to download data to an Excel format, nor is it easy to upload to outside entities such as the Department of Education and to ORS for all the retirement information we have to submit. So, and basically, what this software does at this point in time, it reduces the efficiency of us in the business office or in HR, because we are doing multiple spreadsheets off the general ledger package spreadsheets, just to be able to verify the information and to confirm everything that's on the general ledger. So we worked with Plant Moran this year. We had a selection committee working with Plant Moran to kind of look at various vendors, software, general ledger software vendors. The selection committee consisted of people from the business office, HR department, technology department. We had building secretaries and building principals on the selection committee. During this process, we looked at workflow processes of how we perform our task. We looked at best practice specifications, looking for a software system that would meet all of the requirements that are needed at this point in time. In the process, we developed an RFP, sent it out to 14 vendors, and received 4 responses back. We then ranked those 4 vendors on categories for vendor fit, functional requirements, technical solution, and cost. The selection committee narrowed the vendors down to 2 vendors that we had come in and do demos for us. And then once again, the committee got together, finalized who we wanted to give our the award to for the general ledger software package, and we just selected Tyler Munis as the vendor to receive the award. Again, this is something that's much needed, and implementing a new software package will not happen overnight. I have been seeing signs of deterioration on the SIM system we are using right now, which is starting to kind of scare me, because I know people want to be paid, and I'm afraid that at some point in time, this thing may not last any longer, and I don't want to get to the point to where we are scrambling to come up with a new system. And like I said, implementation will take a while. Right now, we are not planning on actually implementing the general ledger portion of this until February of 2017. Payroll will not go on until April, and the timelines we have set right now. So this is still, it's still a long ways out, and I'm hoping that we can limp through on the SIM system until we can get to the new Tyler system.
So what do? Do you transfer pieces of information at a time and test it, if you will?
We will.
Okay.
We will. We'll work with the CMT, who is our support for the SIMS package, and they will help to do a conversion. They will help us with the conversion. We're going to be doing a lot of the data where once it's loaded on to the new system, we will have to confirm that everything is on accurately.
Right.
We will work with the general ledger system and make sure that AP checks are being posted properly and that vendors are being added properly and things are working the way we expect them to before we would do something as large as the payroll, because the payroll is a major piece, and we want to make sure that your accounting system is set before you roll over the payroll portion of it and start affecting people's pay.
So will you have to run duplicate systems for a
We
little
will.
while?
We will be running duplicate systems. We will be working probably a lot of time to make sure that everything is accurate, but I have the team to do it, and we are well prepared to take this challenge on.
Any other questions before we vote?
Welcome to this decade.
We will. Part of the package is that we will receive training. In fact, on the Tyler system, that was one of the ones that came back in the RFP that we were really impressed with is the number of hours that they will work with us on the training. And it's one-on-one training. We will have people here on site rather than an online training.
Okay, thanks.
All right. If there are no more questions, we'll take a vote. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah. Well, Nancy. Our next item of new business is approval of a technology purchase.
I move the Grand Ledge Public Schools Board of Education approve the technology purchase as presented.
Support.
Okay.
I can, in Mark's absence tonight, I can provide you a little bit of detail. In short, the proposal is to make purchases to upgrade our wireless infrastructure throughout the district. It is something that we struggle with currently. If in any building at any given time, our wireless system is heavily strained. When you figure not only the classroom technology that we may be using, you factor in cell phones, wireless keyboards, all of those types of things. We struggle with that, and this is especially important as we continue to add technology to the buildings. When we look at our state testing, which requires us to test online in many cases, and it's moving even more so in that direction. So this proposal is to upgrade that technology infrastructure. Mark included in your Friday packet some detailed information about that, but in short, a bid went out. The gentleman who spoke about that tonight did mention that on February 29th. There are 11 products that were looked at, and the proposal that you have in front of you was deemed the best product, both in terms of cost, but also quality of product as well was considered. So,
And I also even understand that even world language, there'll be a technology component to that.
not just world language, all of the curriculum materials as we move forward have a huge technology or aspect to it. Okay. And we utilize it to what we can, but we would like to, there's a lot of pieces, if for instance our journeys, our digits math programs that have a big technology side to it that we can't fully utilize everything we have in some cases because of our infrastructure. So this will help us move forward as well, not just with the foreign language purchase, but others that we already have in place.
Okay.
Does this include all the buildings or just specific buildings?
I believe it's all of
All
the buildings,
buildings?
district-wide, yes.
All right, well, connectivity is an issue statewide, I know, and a complaint I've heard more than once, so appreciate your moving forward on that. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. And our final item of new business tonight is the approval of a utility tractor purchase. You can tell it's May, so. Entertain a motion.
I move the Grand Ledge Public Schools Board of Education approve the utility tractor purchase as presented.
Second?
Thank you.
Okay. And who's got this one? Mr. George. Okay.
Utility tractor and mower replaces our current mower that's 21 years old, has over 4,000 hours on, no longer can have parts. So if it breaks, we can't mow the grass. So this is a better way to do it. It gives us a tractor and a mower, so I think this is a better move.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet.
Bottom line.
That's it. It's just equipment replacement.
All right, any questions there? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you for that long litany. We do have one more opportunity for the audience to make public comment on any agenda items or non-agenda items, I guess, but this is especially an opportunity to comment on the agenda.
Do you need my name and address?
I think we know it.
We know who you are. No. I'm glad we're still smiling. In case you were unaware, as presented does not view from our point of view. I know you have more information in front of you, but the phrase as presented does not in fact tell us information specifically for the curriculum purchase, the bus purchase, the business business office software purchase, the technology purchase, the utility tractor purchase. I, as a well-intending citizen, have no idea how much money you just spent tonight. So if at the comments from staff and board, if each of those purchases might be elaborated on, because again, I'm sure you have that information in front of you, but we do not. And that is information that we would like. Thank you.
Any other comment? All right. We can do that. We have time for comments for staff and board, so if the staff would like to comment in response to Mr. Ellsworth.
I can speak to the curriculum purchase. It is approximately $270,000 for the foreign language purchase that we spoke about tonight.
And on the general ledger software package, it's will be $287,000, which again, like I said, if it lasts another 23 years, it's a nice long-term investment.
Yeah.
I don't have the exact number on the buses, but it was about it was just $90,000 a bus. And the utility tractor and mower is $56,000, which is much less than the $75,000 it was to replace the mower. So that's why we want utility tractor and mower.
And the upgrades to the technology, the infrastructure, the cost to the district will be about $310,000. And that includes over $150,000 in rebates that go along with that.
Thank you. You're welcome.
4 buses.
90.
90 per bus.
They hold what, 77? 77 kids each.
I'm not going to guess at it. We can do the number and you can call later. And I'm understanding that these were all budgeted purchases. They were things that we knew we were going to be incurring and that we had planned for.
Yes, all of these purchases have been in the budget, have been in all of my budget presentations that I've presented to the board this fiscal year.
Okay, thanks. All right, are there any comments from the staff beyond the cost of the proposals?
I would like to just, again, some of the board members have already said this, but congratulate our top 25 students. As the former high school principal, I had the pleasure to see them for their first 3 years of their high school careers, and it is awesome to see where they are going now as they prepare to enter or leave our halls. A couple of notes about that top 25 that I don't think I mentioned tonight. That top 25 is figured based on a combination of their GPA as well as their ACT scores. It's a formula that has been used for about 12 years now, 10 years now, to determine that top 25. And I can tell you, I don't have the exact numbers, but I can tell you I believe I'm accurate when I say that every one of those top 25 students had an ACT score of 30 or higher. And I know that there are 5 or 6 of them that had 34s or 35s in that group. So outstanding group. So congratulations to them. We wish them the best.
Yes, yes. I also want to congratulate Sarah on your new position. I think you've got some big shoes to fill. I mean, Norma's done an enormous job over the years, and geez, with the new Eaton Reese's superintendent, you're finally getting what you've wanted for years, and now you're going.
Now you can leave. Your work is done.
Your work is done. Yeah.
I just wanted to say again, congrats to the top 25 scholars. I won't go into specifics, but there are the children of 3 state troopers in that group. And
Don't brag.
I take that as personal pride and with some hope that my children may have, the Boucher boys may be able to live up to that type of scrutiny at some point. And John, get with me and I'll tell you where I got this shirt.
And I would also like to congratulate our graduates. Day to day, doing that kind of hard work, meticulous detail. It's nice to see it pay off. I think I counted 7 kids going to the University of Michigan, which is my alma mater. And if you wonder what Grand Ledge was like in 1971 when I went there, I walked into the counseling office and asked for an application to the University of Michigan, and they told me they wouldn't give me one, that they didn't give them out for the University of Michigan back then. If I wanted to go to Michigan State, they'd give me one, but they just simply wouldn't for the University of Michigan. So it's kind of nice to see that maybe it's the digital age and they can just get the applications. I asked for the University of Michigan's phone number and they wouldn't give it to me. Apparently it was because it was the home of the SDS back then. But anyway, nice to see a wide variety of schools that our kids can get into. It's really a good thing.
I really want to add, too, I was very surprised because I grew up in Chicago to see Chicago universities now are choosing our kids, which is phenomenal. Northwestern and Loyola are just amazing schools. So it's good to see.
Congratulations to all of our seniors tonight. Congratulations to all of our seniors this year, and I look forward to graduation next week.
Yes.
I would just like to add my congratulations to the students, the parents, and the teachers for doing such a wonderful job. It's not an easy path, and they all have done very well. So congratulations, and looking forward to graduation.
Yes. All right, thank you. The topic of tonight leaned heavily again towards contract negotiations, as it has, rightly so, in the last few months. And so I do have a prepared statement on behalf of the board. We are disappointed that the union turned down the tentative agreement. And it was an agreement that I believe the board would have supported because it invested in our teachers and in the district. Specifically, the agreement would have provided the following, and in case there are people here who haven't heard or haven't read it, we wanted to share that. One thing is more pay. The agreement moved teachers to a new pay scale that paid the top teachers among the highest wages in the county and the region. We believe that investing in our more experienced and high-performing classroom teachers was money well spent, even in tough economic times. It also would have provided more consistency. This agreement guaranteed every effective teacher a pay raise for 3 years. Class size solutions were also part of this contract. The contract paid a bonus to elementary teachers with over 28 students in their class. This was a request from the association. It offered parapro support. This contract continued to allow extra parapro support for elementary classrooms unless it was economically not feasible. It also offered reduced work on planning time. This contract reduced the district's ability to assign teachers to teach on planning and eliminated teaching on planning altogether when the fund equity was higher than 9%. Our auditor recommends we maintain a fund equity between 12 and 15%, so we believe this provision motivated labor and management to support the fiscal health of our district in a very reasonable manner. Finally, the contract allowed for more pay for work on planning. The agreement significantly increased compensation for those teachers on planning. A teacher teaching on planning for 3 trimesters would earn an extra $6,000 per year. While the board addressed the union's asks, the board gave up several of its requests, such as more instructional time each day for kids and more instructional days per year for kids. We have concerns about the association's good faith, but we remain hopeful that both parties will problem solve at the next mediation. I heard that from you as well, so that was good news. And that everyone will focus on solutions that are good for our community and that are in the best interests of the children we serve. Thank you for listening. Our future meetings will be held, first of all, a commencement on Friday, as we talked about several times, 7 p.m. at the Breslin Center on June 3rd. We have a board bond advisory meeting Monday, June 13 at Sodden Room 107, and a work session back here on June 13 as well at 6 p.m. So I invite you all to attend those meetings. And now if I could entertain a motion to go into closed session.
I'll move the Grand Ledge Public Schools Board of Education move into closed session for the purpose of discussing negotiation strategies as per Section 8C of the Open Meetings Act, Public Act 267 of 1976.
Support.
Okay, and this is a roll call vote.
Mrs. Winstanley.
Here, Yes.
Long night.
Mrs. Mulvena? Yes. Mr. Boucher?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
President Wassick?
Yes.
Mrs. Clark Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Shiplet?
Yes.
All right. Thank you all.